lot of work to do now that Fnatic have hit their first spike in the game.
Yellowstar finding Whirlip here. Not gonna happen.
All the other way around.
Hold on, yeah. Just finding who. Fnatic obviously want to try and establish a bit of vision here. If they want to start pushing out to the tier 2 towers, there's always the risk. When you take on these early tier 1 towers, you have to step further in towards the enemy base, and there's more chances of them getting flanks from the jungle, so you start forcing these deep wards, and then you often just focus on 2 lanes at once. If you don't have to split pusher yourself, don't try and play the entire map, that's not going to happen. Just play 2 lanes, ward up the jungle in the 2 lanes you're playing around, so let's say mid and bot lane for Fnatic, and then play around these 2 towers, and also, of course, the objective spawning, which is going to be Dragon in 1 minute and 40 seconds. For now, though, Giants finally get into this tower because Fnatic has split up on the map. Didn't kill it yet, though.
No, not this time round. The fight breaks out. Reignover is trying to get onto Whirlip. Frederick is going to body slam forward. Reignover comes up. He gets interrupted by Godfred, and Whirlip continues to peel away. Huni jumps into the fight, and it's Featherfin that drops Frederick. Fnatic hold on to their tower and get a kill, and they turn the pressure back around.
It's the same again here with these early towers going down for Giants. They don't have any side lanes to farm. They're just desperately trying to find something so they Fnatic are strongest, and Godfred is going.
Let's see, teleport comes in from Whirlip. Pepinero is being chunked down. Huni has the satchel on his head. It's gonna pop. Monsoon being chunked. His worst nightmare comes to pass, and he goes down. Fnatic get their 3rd kill of the game and regain control. They are now 2,000 gold in the lead. And within a minute, they are stamping out Giants' hope.
Here, Giants just invested quite a lot into this fight here. It is so tough as well to play Nocturne unless you snowball early on. Like, it's one of the reasons Nocturne, for many players, are not considered that strong of a pick. Simply because if you don't snowball early on, if you don't become so strong that you can dive into the enemy backline, single out that one target, then you don't really offer a whole lot, because it's the only way you can play these fights. There's no peel really coming from a Nocturne. Again, like the rest of Giants, it was great, but then once they lost that big and the Corki, the wave clear, everything for Giants is kind of slowed down.
Yeah.
And they just fell really far behind in XP, and that's where we are now.
So we'll have to see if they can actually bring themselves back into it. The last time we against an Urgot, if memory serves. But for Giants, the cost of all the farm and the levels, you know, the decision-making was great, but the cost of those decisions, the cost of those plays has put Fnatic in a position where they can just fight with this mid-game team comp.
Yeah, I think the wave. So they knew Fnatic was going to take a lot of time on killing the first tower because of that. And that's why they could push for the second one. Then they got the dive bot lane again. There was the correct moves. Problem was then for Giants, again, how do we start catching the wave? Just trying to see a bit of counterplay maybe to how the lane swap normally go. The game is over, but it's definitely set them far behind.
Yeah, that's certainly for sure. 82 CS on Audrey's Tristana versus 143 on Reckless's Corki.
Because, I mean, we were a little bit hyped for it here in 5-12. I was very hyped before I started playing it myself, and I felt like, okay, I think it's great. Once again, you get to that late game point, but getting there can be a bit difficult. What you normally want to do, I haven't checked Pepinero's rune set in this one here, but you want to aim, we're talking about between 20% cooldown reduction and 30% cooldown reduction. And it depends on the player here. It depends on if you want a bit of extra AP from your runes, if you want a bit more magic penetration maybe coming in. But basically, you want to get it to the point where, of course, your Mystic Shot, when you connect it, cuts the second in the cooldown. And then you want to try. So Rune Glaive with the 1.5 second cooldown. Every time you land a Mystic Shot, it procs the Rune Glaive, obviously. Like, that's your main poke coming in, because your W doesn't proc it. It has to be auto attacks or, of course, the Mystic Shot. And that's what you play around. So you don't want 40% cooldown reduction. That's a big no-no. It's a waste.
And the interesting thing is, of course, that Varus was available, Kog'Maw was available. Giants have opted into this Ezreal as opposed to one of the more traditional poke champions that we've been seeing, because Jace was the only one that was actually banned out. So we'll have to see how this works out.
It's true.
And we'll have to see. For the time being, I can inform you guys that it does look like we will be remaking this game. I will give you the exact wording and reasoning in just a moment or two. So that is the reason for the extended pause and why the coaches are on stage right now.
Yeah.
Interesting situation.
So I'm going to say that I like the fact that Giants is trying something new.
Yeah.
It's not a role swap this time around. They're saying in-game, like, we feel like we have maybe a counter strategy, but we still get to see what it is Fnatic can do and how fast they can react to changes. This is what they do so well. What all the top teams around the world, some of them, that is, can struggle with is like adapting on the fly. If there's a new pick coming in, a new strategy, how well can you adapt to it? Fnatic showed they knew what to do.
Great example of that was game 1 of the day, where Gambit had such a clear, defined strategy against the Copenhagen Wolves, pushing the lanes, rotating back and forth, prioritizing farm for Cavershot. And the Wolves had no answer. They had no reply to the strategy that was being put forward. Fnatic lost 3 towers. They got tower dove, gave up 2 kills.
Yeah.
Had all of that pressure. We're down like 2,000 gold. Instantly read the situation correctly. Instantly responded by sort of slow.
Stronger, because he's just sat there for like a minute or 2 minutes and just slow pushed it. And if the enemy AD carry walks up and he catches the entire wave, he will almost catch up to you. And he has that advantage from the towers. So that could have been bad for Okay, that's okay. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Then he got a jungle camp.
Let's agree 3.5.
Yeah.
Because it really did feel like a long time. It really did feel like it was between 5 and 9 minutes that there was next to no farm being secured at all. And during that time frame, Fnatic actually picked up their second dragon. So as I do say, and we'll tell you exactly the details as to why in a few seconds' time. There's the players on your screen.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about Fnatic and the way they like to play these lane swaps, which is what Giants were looking at and trying to. Notice how he's the guy, once tower goes down, that stays in the lane where they kill the tower. He's the guy who bounces the wave. He gets then a few. Dive. Otherwise, the other side comes down and try and help them. So like that's what they like to do. And talking about the earlier games we saw today, it was teams sacrificing the in the bot lane. Our AD carry is going to get that wave. You can just go back to base, and then you're going to have to walk up to this lane that is now slow pushing away from. That's your fault. And then this guy is just completely useless. Like, he can't do anything. And that's also why like Maokai is looking so weak often in the early game here, because people is like, hey, he doesn't need that much anymore. Top lane is so important. You have to try and play around them, and that's what we see a team like Fnatic do very often.
That's definitely the case. And let's step back and talk a little bit more about the team, because when we look at Fnatic, they're so holistic in terms of their strengths and the positives. The one thing that we usual self. And again, this is very, very abstract thinking. But traditionally, Reynov has had such a massive impact in all stages of the game. And on day 2 against Gambit, his Olaf did not look particularly impressive.
Yeah, that's the thing about this Olaf pick here that he likes to use, is that I mean, he talked about it himself in one of the interviews. Why they pick scaling comps like Rise, like Victor as well, because they know they can reach that point. That's obviously why the Olaf is so strong, but what we then don't needs to be able to like dive that enemy backline, needs to be tanky enough to do it, otherwise kind of falls flat, a bit like a Nocturne maybe, in many ways.
Have not had anybody challenge them enough to make them fall far enough behind. At the moment, nobody has been able to truly challenge Fnatic. And yes, some of the games have been close. Some of the games have... It's Fnatic take control and very rarely give it up.
Been very consistent, which has been one of the problems for Giants on the other side. 5 and 5, again, we mentioned how often it's a little bit of a surprise. The fact they start out so well, really prepared so well in the off-season, and clearly it was no longer we just want to avoid relegation. No, they were honestly aiming towards the top 6, and we saw that. We saw great games, great early games. And then, of course, these solo plays for Paperneon and Whirlip, the two solo laners from Giants. It has just kind of stopped a little bit for them. It's more inconsistency because, funny enough, they started picking up new things. Yeah. He couldn't really be a carry, and then they go back and try and find like these 1 or 2 picks. The Shyvana was great for him. I really liked it.
I agree. And it did such amount of work against Freddy Shen. It did, you know, a really big impact. I think for Giants, they're still 5 and 5. This is the team that came in that I expected. Some changing play styles and metagame seems to have favored them, but Giants are still a tale of two extremes.
Yeah.
They're either
back at the spring split. It was like, okay, Giants early game, they would get maybe 60 kills, but they would give away 80 kills as well at the same time because it's like super aggressive, super risky the way they play.
So the players are setting up on stage, and while they are getting ready to go, we're going to check in at the analyst stage for some more information on the ruling.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. Yeah, well, in terms of that ruling during the game with completely new picks and bans, and it was concerning the Nocturne and Gragas pick there at the beginning of pick and ban phase for Giants.
Yeah, and usually in this pick and bans, we saw the coaches talk together as well. They may possibly make a gentleman's agreement to keep the picks the same up until that. We can predict because we've talked about these teams before, so we can just shortly touch on the game what we did see.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing over again. Like Fnatic, they're just so resilient.
Yeah, I did think that Whirlip fell, but getting those towers early.
Yeah, they got those few towers early. The lane, just farming, getting a lot of experience, and you could see that as soon as move the rest of the team up to top lane and just look to close the difference between the two teams. Very, very smart by Fnatic.
Yeah, I did like that Giants took a page out of H2K's book with that early 5-man or 4-man bottom lane dive. First time I see Giants actually playing the lane swap better than their opponents to an extent and actually coming out ahead with that dive. I feel if Godfrey took one more tower shot, he would. It looks so grim for Fnatic, and you think 2,000 gold behind, you know, how are they going to get back? But then you see, like Strez just said, how do you manage your resources? Well, you need 4 people on the top lane to deny your opponent. Well, then you move your bot laner to mid, your mid laner to top. You zone.
Both teams, but we do know that they are ready to go and pick some bans for, well, the second pick and ban phase of this match. So let's get over to Quick Shot and the Fish Show.
Thank you very much, Shucks, and the rest of the analyst desk. We will be getting back into this match in a moment or two. So as you heard, Giants were offered the remake and they elected to go for it. Can't blame them. We do need to see the first time round, and we did see the traditionals, the Jace, the Jax, the
first picking that Alistar with the two support bands coming in on the side of Fnatic, and you can go for the same ones.
to prioritize.
Yeah, we were talking so much about this Nocturne here and how it's so risky. We're going to see what Giants really wants to play for World up in that top lane, we would assume. So same bands, nothing changed. Giants took the Alistar before, valued that because of the two support bands coming in. Of course.
Golf claps, that's deserved, but a big smile on Werlip's face. The rest of the supports were taken off the table, that Morgana and the Thresh. Do Fnatic want to run the Rise Rek'Sai once again? It already got off to a good start. Good bounce back, I'll use that term rather.
Say it like that.
In version 1. 30 seconds on the clock and some pretty stern, serious face.
Fnatic. Like, do we just want to run exactly the same comp here? And also, that start they had, it was such a good start taking out these 3 towers here. So both teams obviously have a lot of things to talk about. Which order do you want to show it? We obviously got Janna, you don't have to take that one now if you are Fnatic, unless it is because you don't want to show everything and you want to maybe leave it up there for Giants to say, okay, are they going to run the same composition? We're not 100% sure yet. Because you obviously don't show anything by taking a Rek'Sai again. Tier 1 jungler left on the table. And then we talk about this Janna coming in.
In this next rotation here for Giants. For the most part, nothing new, but the order has shuffled about. We heard that it was meant to be a Maokai instead of Nocturne for top lane. If Giants had watched the first 2 games, had watched the intro to the day, we're not big fans of the Maokai on the caster team.
Depends on how they play early game with the Maokai. Because we get to see what it can do, or we got to see what it can do late game.
Fnatic's not going to let you get to late.
No, I know.
Fnatic's not going to let you get to late.
It was very clear the Giants were saying we really want heavy scaling. Possibly expecting Fnatic. I mean, Fnatic is a team that never really wins in the laning phase because they don't have to. They value outplaying you on the map a lot more than just the laning phase itself. So you can take scaling comps, but you need to get the gold somewhere to start snowball your way to that late game, because in the mid game is where Fnatic really starts shining. And that's obviously why Giants valued getting out these towers so much in the last game. Yeah, we all gotta show that Nocturne.
I think there's been a trend that has started. We did see Reckless prioritize the Corki in the previous game. This time round is going to go Lulu and Rek'Sai. So we're expecting Lulu most likely in Huni's hands. We've seen him run it before and really put on quite a stylistic show. One game he did play 3-1 and 10. And it'll allow Febiven to run poke if he wants to as well. There's a lot of disengage if they want to go that route.
Yeah, very, very much. Or a lot of disengage, sorry, in that department here to protect Reckless, obviously. Disengage is great unless you're against a hairy poke composition, then you need more engage to get onto them. So Fnatic here, not looking really like a team who can force any fights on Giants. We know Ezreal is also a flex pick. We knew it was Runeblade from Pippin in the last game. Can also be for Adri down the bottom lane. He likes to go Iceborne Gauntlet on it, then it's more kite focused. So Giants, yes, okay, it's the same picks, but they try and put them in the order where it's a bit more flex picks coming in. And then Fnatic changing it up. We mentioned this Kalista, how it's fairly strange nobody picked it. But really Giant, they're looking at Fnatic here and saying, you are running purely disengage, protect the backline. So we're just going to keep going in the poke department here. We're going to put that Ezreal in the mid lane. We add in a Corki as well. Obviously, yes, very magic damage focused for them. Galio has been changed a little bit here in the latest patch.
And he was played yesterday in the European Challenger Series. Didn't go particularly well, but we did see it. It's something that's popped up. For Fnatic, for Disengage, and for Poke, Azir would most certainly fit into that composition.
Yes, but again, if you are Fnatic, are you not concerned about the fact you need to be able to start a fight? I mean, Varus could, with his ulti, start a very safe wave clear as well to try and stop this Ezreal here from pushing in. Obviously, Azir would destroy Ezreal in the laning phase and give you a fantastic team fight. But again, Giants is not looking to all in you. They're looking to very, very slowly poke you down. And only Februman is able to respond, because Huni's obviously going to sit in the side lane with the Shen. He's not going to be there with the rest of the Fnatic team most of the time in this 1-4 setup for Giants, where you have the Ezreal and the Corki sitting together. So I really want to see how Fnatic wants to play this one out. If they start getting a lead early on, though, that's where you have this situation where you can start setting up flanks very effectively. You can speed up a Rek'Sai, you can force a team fight where you're stronger. That's always the thing about poke comps. If you fall behind, you're not meant for these all-in big team fights. You're often very, very squishy. If you get caught out by some CC, you end up dying very fast, and you need time, you know, by landing that poke. Unless you're Jace and you just one-shot everyone, but that's different. That's why he's banned.
Two-shot everyone.
Fine. One rotation and you're dead.
I like that. I like that.
Still though, Fnatic, I mean, for most teams I would say this is very risky to run so much disengage and not hard engage. But I want to see what Fnatic's plan is with it.
Well, if there's any team that's going to be able to at least push those side lanes, maybe play for Baron to help win you the game. We know how good Baron is against poke compositions. We know how good Fnatic are at taking Baron at every stage of the game, but particularly good at the 20 to 30 minute mark Barons. Team comps are on your screen. For the second time today, hashtag GIA win or hashtag FNC win. If you are just tuning in, just want to give you a quick update. During picks and bans, there was an erroneous pick by Giants. When they did notify the LCS officials, they should have been offered a remake. That didn't happen, and that means they are entitled to a new pick and ban phase to make up for the error in the league rules. So guys, in the interest of competitive integrity and the spirit of the rules, the game was remade. This is the new picks and bans.
Yeah.
And this is the second time Giants will have a chance to take down Fnatic's 10-0 winning streak.
And also, we don't want to see Nocturne in our games. Not biggest fan of that one. So happy he's...
No, but hang on, you weren't that disappointed last time round.
I was.
Oh, your mood changes.
Really liked it.
Your mood changes.
No, I was talking about how risky it was with the Nocturne here. I only had one positive thing, and that was the fact that you could like pop your ulti and then TP somewhere and the other guy won't follow. That was about it.
Fickle like the mob. You managed to change your opinion. But this time around, we're going to see a...
I didn't like it. Anyway, we got a Kalista as well now, so everything is back to normal.
Well spotted, Captain. We'll see what Reckless can do with all the protection, with Lulu, with Janna, with Azir, to keep him alive. No makings of a lane swap this time around. And we'll stop referencing this time around in a few minutes' time.
I would not prefer to be Alistar, Corki into Kalista and Janna. Not a lane that would go well for me. So easy for Fnatic to proc that 12% damage from the W, the double range as well. You can trade very effective against the Corki before he hits level 6 as well as a Kalista. I want to see how Giants plays it out. I think this is also more just for Whirlip, because Shen is one of these champions here that really relies a lot on having a standard one-on-one lane, because he needs to rush that first tanky item to really be able to stand toe-to-toe in his laning phase. Obviously, Lulu's going to be able to push him down to his tower, but killing him is going to be extremely difficult for Huni. So Giants opting just for standard lanes. Once again, though, they don't really have any strong lanes. In my opinion, there's no lane that is supposed to win over what Fnatic has put on the board here. Azir against an Ezreal is a very one-sided laning phase as well.
So Fnatic need that laning phase to go well, because of course, as you've mentioned quite extensively, Deficio, the poke and the lack of engage for Fnatic could come to be problematic. I want to step back and look at the comp holistically though, because Fnatic have put a lot of eggs into the Reckless Kalista basket. And that's not a massively risky thing to say, because we know how good Reckless is. But he's actually the 10th AD carry when it comes to percentage of team damage. Now that is, of course, because of how involved Rainover and Huni and Febiven are. But it's interesting to note that Reckless is not required to carry most of the time.
And yet, whenever they finally need him, he does step up. The Origin game, he had a fantastic performance on Kalista. I believe it was like almost 10 kills picked up for him. So it just shows, again, the different kinds of strategies Fnatic can pull off. Again, you can play around your soul laners, you can play around your AD carry, even, and they try and mix it up a little bit. And it's something we have seen all split long. New picks coming in, new play styles, really try and show maybe try and confuse other teams coming into playoffs. Like suddenly Huni's playing Lulu. I mean, Huni's a carry top laner, but doing this just makes the pick and ban phase that much harder. It's not a Unicorns of Love style where it's like, oh, is there going to be a random Shaco or Teemo jungle or whatever? No. It's more...
It's a lot more calculated, if we can say that. Not to say UOL's not calculated, but it's an element of crazy for them as well. But one thing we've also got to highlight is the fact that because of Fnatic's depth of ability, there's a reason they're 10-0 in summer. So this laning phase, hurting a little for Godfred and Audrey, but Godfred's sustained with that triumphant roar, keeping Audrey topped off and relatively even on CS with the wave pushing towards Giants.
It's a bit of a sustained battle for Giants here, obviously. Godfred, he's going to sit and spam out heals, but every time they trade, you can see how Fnatic is very, very confident, just jumping forward. You have so much damage on this Kalista early on. You pop that W as well with Yellowstar's auto attack. So Giants just gonna have to try and keep even in CS, but the problem is every single lane is being pushed down. That allows Rainover to sit in the rivers and like go in, maybe invade into our Giants jungle. You can see what he's doing. And invaded in, but I didn't have any wards. So instead he goes back to base, he buys at least one ward for himself, and now we might see him go in and place that very offensively. Meanwhile, Frederick,
not the most creative of routes.
Well, look at this here. As soon as he shows himself top, Fabian starts roaming because the mid lane has been pushed in. So you couldn't even go for that gank, but there would be the chance of you being counter ganked very easily.
Godfred, he manages to connect onto Rex. Been secured. Audrey forced to flash away, holding onto his summoner heal. All of that aggressive play from Reckless and Yellowstar results
from Fnatic and no heal use from Giants. And here's Reyno. We talked about this just before. Every single lane is winning and pushing, but then it's very not lose any farm. So Reyno not having the hardest early game of his life. All he has to do now is just try and track Frederick. You should always be able to inform your lanes. Okay, there's a chance he's ganking bottom lane now. Just play passive just a little bit. And therefore, you also know when Frederick is not around, and you can keep playing aggressive in the lanes if you are Fnatic.
Tremor Sense extremely Pepino is doing a decent job using that smite to his advantage to at least stay close to Febiven, and both mid laners now have access to their ultimates.
Tower's slowly being chipped down. Obviously again for this Runeglaive Ezreal. You want that first light machine first, then you get the Runeglaive, Trailblazer coming in, then you want the... You can find your farm. This is what Ezreal can do in... But you can just try and sit and farm. He's starting Flask as well, so loads of sustain for himself.
So Godfred once again looking to play aggressive. He's flashed in, got the pulverize on the head. Stand United's coming in, Reckless has the flash to over the wall, and he finds Frederick. Huni was thinking of teleporting.
Reckless did not spot Frederick and just jumped into him. Very good response here, Giants. They have to be able to make these plays. Again, you're slowly losing your lanes. Your towers are getting chipped away, but you have that global pressure of a Shen. Nice little setup, and Dragon as well for them.
Come out the gate swinging. Standard lanes this time around. They managed to punish Godfred's Alistair. You can see why it was first picked. Reckless not anticipating that flash pulverize and ends up costing his life.
The first one started. Bot lane's talking about how the 2v2 lane, there's so many things you have to worry about before you can even start thinking about trade. Ulti now, where can a jungler be? Like, there's so many things you gotta communicate as a team. And then play a bit more passive, but obviously that's what Shen can do. That's why Shen has come back into the meta as well for them. But Reckless, he's gonna go Blade first item, so I expect him to remain a bit of a split pusher all game long, because again, 1-3-1 on the side of Fnatic. Lulu can hold the Shen, and then Reckless play multiple lanes and not allow Giants to sit in close.
Good poke damage there from Reckless onto Audrey. Audrey's got that.
He's helping.
Feb got it. That got close. I was watching Rainover for some reason. I don't know why. But nevertheless. His way up to the rune wave. Both teams even on gold as we're getting closer to the 10-minute mark. But advantages in top and in AD carry. So despite the kills for Giants, despite the objectives they've gained, Fnatic are still even. This is the same thing that happened in the previous game.
The problem for Giants is every time they want to make a play, they rely on Whirlip having his ulti ready, so they can't keep forcing these plays in, because then you'll
All good players steal in League of Legends.
do they?
Yes, they do. Rainover did it last week. Used the undertow to steal somebody else's dragon.
It's true. He's a rude guy.
He is. He first took, there's the slide and glide. First steals his job, then he steals his title.
Yeah.
Of stealing objectives. Out, Prey Seeker doesn't connect, but the Glitterlance does. Flash for flash. Whirlip continues to get chased down. Furious Bite comes out. Glitterlance puts the slow.
Of course, got to get that Grump as well. Once again, what's happening? Possible ganks also with the Rex side. So bot lane here now, Fnatic has to be careful because their jungler has just gone top lane. They know Shen is ulti again, so now you
people away and the True Shot Barrage doesn't connect. Hooney's teleported to the tower and come up from behind. We see Audrey getting dropped by Hooney with the help of Yellowstar, and the Glitterlance will keep the cow in place. He'll go for the headbutt, but it won't be it.
done yet. He's dueling the enemy top lane at one-on-one.
Whirlip is picking this fight, and I'm not sure he wants it. Whirlip is just going to regen thanks to that passive. Fnatic turn the pressure around.
Yeah, this has really gone very wrong for here. First one misses, then they taunt him up, and now Audrey jumps in, but great ulti from Yellowstar knocks him away, so there's so little damage on Rex. Now you're caught between two towers, and everything just goes. We're gonna make a play bot lane. Again though, so Rex away for ulti can obviously just been part of everything.
Excellent play and reply from Fnatic once more. Didn't lose that tower, actually. Just taking a look, and it's Fnatic that got the tower moment. Dragon, they've got a lot of vision around, but Fnatic have got the power spikes. Blade of the Rune. And Werlib is still trying to stack up some tankiness. No big items completed yet. Adri down 20 odd CS. No Trinity Force either.
Although Werlib is stacking him out early because he's of course in a one-on-one against Tuni, it opens up for Fnatic to maybe try and surprise him later on. But that's again what Reckless is building for. We talked about this, how strong mid game from Giants, a bit more fairly late mid game. I guess we can save the Rune Glaive Ezreal. They could be very risky, but because it was standard lanes, Giants did not swap it around. They've been pushing in the lanes. Map pressure, and then suddenly you can start flanking in on this board composition from Giants, and they're going to
non-stop aggression in Werlib's face. 40 CS ahead and the tower secured. Now let's also remember that is because Werlib is stand united twice to come down for ganks. One of them was equalized by Huni. The other, Huni was left alone in the top. But very
I mean, that's how you play Lulu. You also have to spam laugh when you run around. Like, that's just part of playing Lulu. Fnatic will get the dragon. Not going to matter a whole lot in this case. And of course, Reckless eats a true shot barrage in his face. That's the payback. But mid tower going down again. Every single lane. Going back to pick and ban phase for Giants, how they pick weak laners, and then they also pick a setup where they're like, no, we kind of want to have that Shen one-on-one, so we don't want to swap it clearly. And it really hurts them so much.
just look at the mini-map and see all of the wards, all of the tunnels, all of the vision that Fnatic have on the map. 5,000 gold up, 3 towers to 0, and Adri just see Fnatic keeping up the pressure, keeping up the attacks, and trying to deny Giants as many resources as possible.
And I remember Fnatic.
Are in retreat. Now Emperor's Divide gets released. It looked like it locked Werlib aside. A couple of stacks of Rend, but not enough for the kill. So Fnatic survived the engage. Did need to use teleport from Huni, and now the pressure is on. Adri left alone down bottom. Will Fnatic
Giants tried to make a play, backfired for him, lost another tower though. Got the bot lane at least for Adri.
So trading towers, inner turret for outer turret, and Fnatic roamed top. And Reckless is just going to continue to extend that lead. Recurve bow picked up. We'll be going into that as obviously we can just watch the Rend over and over. It's quite hypnotizing, actually. Now,
It is, but it's a good one.
the super slow-mo of Lulu reminds me of Angelina Jolie from... What was the movie where she curved the bullet?
Wanted?
Was it wanted?
I want to say yes.
Don't remember.
Otherwise, she bent it like Beckham.
No, we're not going that far back.
No?
No. Pepinero with the Luden's Echo and the Rune Glaive does land a Mystic Shot onto Rainova. Rainova gets caught out. He's punished for overextending ever so slightly.
Giants, though. That's where they can force a fight. Fnatic disengage though, but it does mean they can start pushing in mid. But look at the side lanes. We talk about this over and over. 1-3-1 setup. Two of them.
Huni is on the inner turret. We'll catch a glance of Reckless in a minute.
Might be able to defend this one here from Werlip.
So Werlip going to get caught by the Glitter Lance. 2 levels down, 60 CS down. All of the damage though, so if that happens once more, it will be enough for a kill. Huni gonna get jumped on, but so is Adri. Gets caught up by Fate's Call. The interrupt is not gonna happen from the Howling Gale. There invades.
Still, well played by Giants. Thought Fnatic would at least get time around, and I'd already poked it down. But Giants at least showing they know they have to try and make a play and start using this Corki Ezreal together. The Luden's Echo is complete for Pepinero, obviously. This is where he starts becoming stronger. He's going to be forced to do. They're not going to be able to hold the two side lanes. Use him then, swap him into the mid lane with Pepinero, and see if you can force Fnatic to sit as a group. Start landing that poke from this Ezreal here. Maybe play around the dragon as well by landing some poke first. Otherwise, with this build and Rainover. He doesn't use any mana.
No, he doesn't use mana this time round. We see Fnatic putting some pressure on this top half of the map. Despite losing blue buff, one of the things Fnatic are known for between 20 and 30 minutes I do not think there is a better Baron team in Europe than Fnatic.
Fairly simple statement, but Godfred, oh, he's going straight in.
He's going to get the 3-man knock-up. Unbreakable Will comes up. Pick up a kill. It's Fnatic, though. They're in a little bit of trouble. Now they're in a lot of trouble. 3 members down. Rainover cannot find a reply back. Objectives.
I have no idea what Pepperman was trying to do here. He dashed in, ended up being caught behind the tanks of Giants. Didn't really get to do anything. He just got taunted up, I believe. Didn't even use his ulti. He obviously tried. Giants don't care about that.
6 seconds, 5 seconds. Huni's blue buff, sorry, I got excited. Oh, I got so excited, but not gonna work out. You see it eventually.
Why is he in now?
Well, should be able to at least get an exit frag. Flash into... Get Baron on 5.
Godfred is going. This is a perfect engage from him onto 3 guys, and he's 10. You never get to do any kiting if you are a Fnatic, and all they managed to do was really hit Godfred, who's even still alive. For
Godfred is really showing up. He's finding the targets. I do think you have to call often see them getting caught out like that. We don't often see them initiating team fights that do not work in their favor. For a few more minutes.
Yeah, and we still have to remember, they're not running with any hard engage on their side. So now, Giants going in again.
Godfrey does catch. The poke, Mystic shot and a big one. It's gonna hurt. Reckless is going low. He's gonna get caught down. Not gonna die just yet. True Shot Barrage has already been used, but Giants get what they want, the tower.
Again, this from Champs. So hard. You see the damage from Pepinero already. It's only gonna get worse, by the way. As long as they don't take any bad fights and continue to group and have this poke, there's very little Fnatic they can do in response. Reyno is the guy who has to jump in, then get this ulti from Lulu. That's how.
Oh, so mortal. Fate's Call not available for Reckless as he's posturing aggressively down the lane. Giants even on gold. Close to even on.
Run out. So now it's time for Fnatic again to say, okay, that was a mistake. We misplayed that team fight. We gave Giants a chance to play their composition the way it was supposed to. Other lane against the Shen. Shen is no wave play. He can't really push it back in time. And then you... Talisman completed for Godfrey. Has been there for a while, but that is key because he's the guy who's most likely going to jump in, or Frederick, and then have that Shen ulti on them. And then you got to try and get picks on Febiven.
The Death Bush. And the Death Bush is always better with Tremor Sense. It is always a bonus.
Always a bonus.
That's a good read. Fnatic knew Ardri would face shit. No, I'm being silly now. So they get a kill into Ardri. Reckless is going to steal away the red buff. Look top. You can see Huni and Werlib going toe-to-toe. There is a wild growth available, but this trade, Werlib ends up winning. Out yet. We do see Reckless is going to find Frederick. And that means Huni's peeled backwards as well.
It's always fun, though, to watch Giants play. I mean, now to show up big time against Fnatic. We have a good game going on here. Both teams definitely still in the game. Two different ways they want to play it out. Sitting as the fourth team in Europe for quite some time this season. Well, yeah, I mean,
this is gonna hurt.
Now you're overextending for no reason.
Pop! Goes the Weasel. Oh, I missed a prime opportunity. I could have gone.
Yeah.
Giants now also need to be a little more cautious.
Feels like Giants up tower and really need to just calm down because Fnatic have plenty of time to reposition on that map. So Ardri obviously shouldn't just try and walk straight through that bush where he died in the bottom lane. Werlib shouldn't start pushing top because if you look at the rest of the map, Giants are like two members running from base. They were not in a position to punish Fnatic for sending multiple guys to lanes where there's some pressure and you have a cross-map objective. So in case they walk up 2 or 3 guys to gank the one guy pushing, you need to be able to get something elsewhere on the map or react in time and come up and counter gank it. Giants were not in a position to do that both times, so they gave up 2 free kills.
Mid, it will be dropping in a moment. Take a look, Werlib with teleport. Currently with the team in the middle, and we see that Pepinero currently currently running that elixir of sorcery, so wants all of the power in the world. The sorcery plus that Runeglaive means he's going to hurt towers real hard.
And this is where Giants wants Fnatic to be. All 5 members stuck under a tower. Shen split pushing on his for himself. Keep in mind again, he needs to smite these.
Is available. Unbreakable comes up from Godfred. Whirlip has arrived. He's not going to be able to taunt though. Reckless is staying alive. Pepinero is looking for one, but he can't find it. Whirlip has got so many stacks up. The Rend is not going to get the kill, but
cooldown reduction on his Esper here. The Blanky Z getting fairly short cooldown for himself, so he can just keep dancing around. This is going to be risky though, and Fnatic, they're still around. February has everything ready for this fight.
Is Reckless gets another. Reckless life sustains through the rest. A flash over the wall as Huni gets the Clitterlance kill as Whirlip throws out the Vorpal Blade. They trade 4 for 3, but Giants get Baron number 2.
Able to just dash over the wall here and stay alive. Fnatic gets a lot of kills in this game here. How Fnatic using all the mobility to try and get in there. Can't really lock down enough. Giants. And Fibron again, he had everything ready. And now Kalista joins in. So the 2 carries are still alive for Fnatic. They jump in after Reckless in the backline. Fibron obviously sacrificing himself to do so much damage.
A lot of damage though.
Look at that. Hello. I mean, keep in mind your Runeglaive as well has an AP scaling. That hurts.
Well, now we see why the hype was there, but I didn't quite expect to see it in LCS. Fnatic are still only 1,000 gold up at 30 minutes to fish.
We get to see the good version of Runeglaive as well, where he gets to late game, where he gets these items, so he becomes such a monster. Has too slow of a scaling, and then does absolutely nothing. But in this case here, Pepinero's had a very, very strong game. Giants once again. It's literally just about him when it comes to dealing damage from Giants here in the late game.
Whirlip does have Stand United and Baron, so if he wanted to push a side lane, it would work out, but they're not going to get the chance. Fnatic forced to defensively use Monsoon and the Emperor's Divine. Rainov is dropped by Pepinero. He's looking to land Mystic Shot after Mystic Shot. A barrage from Audrey gets the second kill.
Fnatic is stuck under their tower. They cannot properly start the fight. Pepinero takes 0 damage and he just destroys your entire team. At the same time, Giants on the Nexus turret.
While sights onto number 2. It looks like they want to back away. Febivin's been able to open the base. Rainov is looking for a fight, but he's too close. Now he needs to peel away. They're trying to chase further. Super minions will be coming in. Frederick's been knocked up. Frederick's been taken out with the help of Huni. True shot.
Huni's down.
Snipe off Huni before he can wild growth himself. We do see Febivin with the shifting sand sliding forward. Fnatic. At the damage, he's got another one. 7-1-7, and he's 4.
the smite as well. Look at his mana now. He's back fighting. And this guy, he got to late game, and he shows why this pick can be so strong. And also, Fnatic getting punished. Being built from the start from Giants. There was like big signs saying poke comp incoming. And yet Fnatic opted for this here. It was
Star's no way too far away. Two-shot barrage goes out. Whoa! Solo Q.
Oh, it's already there, don't worry.
Runeglaive Ezreal.
Now we just need to bring back
through.
DFG, and then we do exactly the same.
Fnatic have super minions to deal with. Are down in gold, down in kills, down in towers.
And if we go back, this game here, where Fnatic got engaged on by Godfred and then Whirlip jumping in, the Alistar pick for Godfred. Febiven tried to die. He ends up dying without even doing anything. Teamfight goes over to Giants to take the Baron. In the 2v2 lane, in the 1-on-1 lanes. They fell behind. It looked great for Fnatic in the 1-3-1, but that one team fight where they couldn't do anything with their comp. They can still try and get Pepinero down. He has 0 defensive items, but who's gonna dive onto him? There's no flash for Ray.
Void Staff, Large Rod, Ludens, and Runeglaive means that Huni gets almost one shot by a true shot barrage. Azir turret is protecting the inhibitor for a few seconds. He's gonna hop through the gate. Ren is gonna be enough to get the kill, and we see the Fate's Call come. I think it's still available. We'll check that in a moment. Fnatic get a kill, they defend, and it does look like they're gonna hold fast.
Yeah, important kill onto Frederick. Standing in the base, just trying to get away, but there's still a lot of damage on the side of Fnatic with this. But that's gonna be in another about 12 minutes time for them. And Pepinero, it's not even done yet.
Fnatic has come all split long. They only have one Nexus turret remaining. Baron. From anybody else. Let's look for those mystic shots from Pepinero. Coming back. So Baron seems to be the focus for Fnatic. At least to defend.
Both teams, we mentioned before, there's no like 5th dragon incoming, so that's where you're gonna have to fight around. It is a chance, like Pokecoms really want the Baron, but
but doesn't get a kill. Audrey is going low. The Ren's not going to be enough to secure it. Monsoon is going to screw him. Mess up the fight. Febiven throws down Emperor's Divide. He manages to get Frederick as I reset myself. They will continue to fight, and they will take Pepinero down. Runeglaive means nothing. Fnatic turn to Baron.
Reckless on Kalista. This guy has shown up. It doesn't matter that he's number 10 for 80 % damage on his team. These late game fights, he's always there. They have a lot of mobility in terms of the Talisman, the Janna, of course, the Lulu with the Whimsy.
And Febiven is able to at least interrupt Pepinero. Even for a few seconds. That's all Reckless needs. Dragon number 4, Baron number 1. Fnatic now have the tools they need to win.
And look at this here. So both teams want to try and set up the Baron, but Fnatic just want to bottom. He gets Shen ult in everything, but notice how everyone from Fnatic jumps away. Zone you away, force him to jump over the wall. So now and that was very, very important, and it was mainly about the fact that both teams were trying to set up a Baron, and nobody would ability really counts. That's where Fnatic then can shine.
Don't forget just how much additional damage Reckless is getting with all that attack speed from the help picks. True Shot Barrage gonna fly wide this time around. And Pepe's at full build. Zhonya's Hourglass completed. For Fnatic, 1-3-1. The order has can somewhat be countered when Whimsy gives you plus. Base of 30 plus 66% from Huni's ability power.
It's always been one of the things about AP Lulu, the fact she had that ratio on Whimsy, why she adds so much.
Reckless is in trouble.
He's all alone for now. Yellowside's nearby.
Saved this time round. Huni's coming with a teleport, and Unbreakable will time out. Where is Feathervid? Can he find someone? Rainover's knocked up Frederick, and we can see Shen's late. Godfred is down! Fnatic even up the kills. They are now onto the inhibitor turret, as there are no more supers. Take a look at the True Shot Barrage. Huni with an early wild growth. Rainover's forced to retreat as he's been chunked very, very low. Wild growth has worn off, and Reckless trying to use the shields to tank up what he can and sustain through the rest.
As long as they keep them.
Now Whirlip is being auto-attacked down. Reckless is hopping forward. He's skipping forward. He's looking for the damage. The inhibitor is now down, and Fnatic seem angry. They get the inhib and they back away. We're 41 minutes in, and Fnatic have cracked open Giant's base.
And it is strong, but also what can they be weak against? Whenever Giants is forced into fights where they never get to sit and land the poke first, Fnatic can. You got Lulu's shield, you give her their 90% movement speed as well, just give her everything. And Rex can keep jumping around.
He can only jump now because he's not wearing shoes. Sold his boots for work for Reckless. Positioning so important. Everyone's going to slide away from that True Shot.
Looking at two superheroes fight each other in Pepinero versus Reckless right here. And of course, all the other members are still helping quite a lot, but like the main Pepinero is more the guy who's just gonna try and be a bit annoying, see if he can like get some attention from Pepinero, be like, come, hit me instead of Reckless, and then it's okay, and then Reckless can clean up. Left to do it. He's never really been in a position to have much of an impact for him when it comes to damage.
So Fnatic playing this one a little more safe. They've got some wards. But for Fnatic, they are 1.5 minutes away from Aspect of the Dragon. In a couple minutes on cue, the timer spawns.
Magic.
Fnatic now have to decide which objective do they want to fight around.
I didn't even realize before. Go for that. In this case here, I mean, there's not a whole lot of
Bane, Death Cap Lulu. Can still hurt. Come on, man.
I guess. I guess. I would still prefer just to go full damage for him in this case here. Because is the weakest one in terms of damage. The deal, it's for long-range poke and safety. Blade of the Ruined King is a lot better for, well, damage if you're against tanks. Obviously, there's not a whole lot on the side of Fnatic. Just the Rex side.
Let's look at what Giants are doing.
Saying, if you try and land any poke, we shield our AD carry and we send him forward. So he's the guy who's going to eat up all the poke because he has these shields here. It's a jogger. Damn, Raynova, he really wants this dragon. It's going to be number 5 for them.
Raynova's a little bit caught out. The rest of Fnatic trying to come in. He was needing to kick out of the team. We do see Reckless is throwing down the auto attacks. Frederick's jump forward. He's looking for Huni. We do see Emperor's Divine. Now, this Fate's Call. Gonna throw up Frederick. That's a double kill for Reckless. He's unstoppable. He's looking for Audrey, and Audrey is forced to run away. The dragon is now being focused. Aspect of the dragon is secured.
Jen is coming.
He's going to get Stand United. Reckless is taunted with the knockback. That's the third. Reckless is looking for 4th. A double-double as he doubles down. Fnatic were out of the game, but now they're in the game. Aspect of the dragon.
Single fight is just use everything you have. Time to show what kind of superhero you are.
Fnatic will be knocking down the Nexus. They've done it once, they've done it twice, they've done it 11 times.